Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts like the chart behind me, which is of Nio, ticker symbol NIO. And so, yeah, I am recording this in the evening of Thursday, September 18th, and I wanted to go over, the chart and some options data before Friday, September 19th, because I think it's pretty crazy what the max pain is, where the price is right now, having closed on the day today. Thursday, September 18th, at a price of $7.37. Hasn't followed my doodle exactly, but we definitely have been heading towards 8. All these levels I had up in the last video. And so, yeah, I just wanted to, briefly just follow up on it. And so, what we can see in the chart, or at least, what stands out to me is, the volume has started to pick up. And as you know, we did get this big move up. Let's see, on Tuesday, September 16th, went up over 8% on the day, which is over 50 cents, 53 cents to be exact. And we closed at $7.02 on that day. We had this big volume behind it. So that looks really good. And then that following day, I'll just zoom in a little bit. Maybe it's a little easier to grasp what I'm talking about with it zoomed in. So, bigger volume with a big move in that candle, wide spread in that candle, lots of volume behind it. So that's really good. And then the next day we saw a gap up, and then we continued a little bit higher. Maybe that looks a little bit like a hanging man, upside move, big head there with a little body underneath. And so that could be suggesting a reversal. But with that, gap up. So that was a 6% up today on that day, on Wednesday, after 8% on Tuesday. And so looking really good, but volume came down just a little bit. So, the thickness of that candle shrank a little bit. The volume also shrank a little bit. So I think that's good. And as it's kind of consolidating up there, volume's pulling back a little bit. It is elevated compared to what it was over here, but it's nice that it's cooling off as it does consolidate up there. So I do think that it could be going higher, but also, I think that there's a risk that it does pull back on Fridays, especially this Friday on the 19th. I believe that is not only, the weekly OPEX, options expiration, but I think it's like triple witching and, just lots of stuff going on. Or maybe that's actually, no, that's this Friday. That's this Friday. I was thinking maybe it's next Friday, but no, it's the 19th. Yeah, so actually just one second. I am going to check my phone to make sure that is right. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that it is. If I do, to be honest, I don't know what I'm doing over here. I trade on my phone, so that's why I'm checking it. But let's see. Yeah, the monthly contracts. Yeah, that's monthly, quarterly, whatever, September 19th. So I think that that's going to be pretty significant once the closes. If it does pull back, I feel like there's a lot of support. Sorry for that little tangent with my phone, but I just wanted to make sure make sure I'm not mistaken. But yeah, where the cursor is, that's around 650. I could see a pullback to that level. Find this prior consolidation, over here as well. Find that as support, and then maybe we bounce higher, kind of like I had doodled here with a pullback bounce and go higher, but that didn't really play out. We didn't pull back, so maybe I'm wrong about this pulling back. And yeah, so one of the reasons why it could pull back is because of max pain. So I'm actually going to try to zoom in on this just so you can see the numbers a little bit clearer. So yeah, the max pain there in yellow, that's for tomorrow, September 19th. Max pain's $4.50. Price is $7.39 in the after hours, apparently. I mean, that's a multi-strike gap between the price and max pain. Lots of contracts in the money. And so maybe this leads to a gamma squeeze. I really don't know, because I think a lot of times when there is a close after a strike like this, maybe it does move a lot, but there's a pullback in there at some point. Maybe that's tomorrow on Friday. Maybe that's next week at the beginning of the week. And then we start to see like a gamma ramp up. I think that this could be continuing to go to $8, $9, maybe $10 in October. There have been some stocks moving a lot. And so I think that Nio could be one of them. Yeah, I mean, look at this. You see this in the chart here. This is the historical Max Pain. And we see the price up here. Look at that divergence. Max Pain at 750, close 745. That's pretty insane. And so, the bulls are pushing this higher. I mean, even just look at this chart, it looks like there's a little cup there. We got, maybe we have a trend line here. This is just approximate, and there's a little handle there. We've broken above. Maybe we retest, but then still way above that max pain. But actually, max pain could be, higher tomorrow. So good to check in the morning. The way that you can do that is via unusual whales or, just kind of like, a hack for myself. What do I do? I type in maximum pain. Or max pain. Yeah, so this is the one that I go to, maximum-pain.com. And then from there, you go to options charts, and then you could type in, whatever ticker you want. So, we want Nio, and the maturity, we want that strike or that expiration to be September 19th. And if we scroll down here, we can see that it is 450. But tomorrow, after the open or just before it, this number will adjust. So maybe it's not going to be 450 tomorrow. But yeah, that's how I would do it. Right here you can see it, maximum-pain.com. But I really do like unusual whales a lot. I think there's just so much data there, easy to use. And also, speaking of unusual whales, if we do look over, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit now. Let's see, there we go. If we do look at the net call and put premium for Nio for Thursday, September 18th, we can see that the stock price, went up in yellow. We can also see that the net call premium in green also went up, and we ended the day with an increase of $1.3 million net call premium. We saw a decrease in net put premium, which is the red line. That ended the day only down $79.9 thousand, so effectively flat, whereas the net call premium did go up. And I believe a few days ago, so I'm just going to go back, there was a day where it really stood out. I guess that was actually on Wednesday, so that would have been on the 17th. We saw net call premium for Nio go up to over $8 million, $8.32 million, whereas net put premium on that day only came down less than 100,000, effectively flat. So what that tells me is people are not betting on Nio going down. They're not buying puts, but they're also not selling puts. They're taking more of an interest in calls. Maybe people are selling calls thinking that it's going to pull back, and so they're a little bit bearish in that sense. And actually, I wasn't going to pull this up, but if we do pull up some of the contracts here that I have been looking at, one is the $3.50 strike call that does expire tomorrow. And so for that one, I don't know how well you can see it, but there's an open interest of about 98,000 contracts, nearly 99,000 contracts, although we did see a volume today of about 758. So let's assume that those were being sold, somebody taking profits. And so that would put open interest at 98,000 contracts with a strike of $3.50 and the price being above 7. I think that is suggesting to me that we could be seeing a big squeeze to the upside, gamma ramp, whatever, however you want to put it. But yeah, max pain at 350. And the price is double that. That's pretty crazy. Let's say 1,000, or let's say, half of these, so like 45,000 of these contracts get exercised, let's say. That would be 40,000. I'm going to pull up the calculator because I'll make a mistake. 40,000 contracts, half of that open interest. And I'm not saying this will happen. It might happen. It could happen. Probably won't, but it could. Let's say 45,000 of those contracts get exercised. Each contract represents 100 shares, and so that would represent 4.5 million shares being bought at a price of $3.50. So market makers would have to supply that many shares that would be then getting purchased effectively at this price of $3.50. And price is a lot higher than that. So I mean, if you were holding these calls, why would you not want to exercise them? Because you exercise them at $3. So for 100 shares, it costs $350, whereas 100 shares would cost more than $700 right now based on the share price. So market makers have to supply those shares. They might have to buy to provide those shares. We get some movement to the upside. If we look at the other contract, this is one that I had sold, but then following the last video, what I was talking about in it, I realized, I should probably buy back that contract. I did. If I wouldn't have bought it back, I'd have to sell 100 shares at $4.50. I don't want to do that. I want to hold my shares at $7. I did sell a covered call, though, with a strike for $11, and I can pull up that contract in a minute. My expectation is that it won't be closing in the money, not tomorrow, not next week. But if it did, I'd be all right taking, my shares that I bought 450, 480 actually, I think, selling them at 11. That's good. But yeah, I mean, we can see with this contract, we have seen some selling. Did I mention that with the other one? Yeah, it's some selling, people taking profits. They don't want to exercise the call, so they're taking that money. But, even at 450, if price is at 7, share price is at 7, why would you not want to buy 100 shares at 450? And then this is one I do hold one of these contracts, so nothing too exciting. I bought it for like $32, I think, so a premium of 32 cents times 100 shares per contract equals $32. And this hit a high today of 136. I'm just chilling. I'm holding that one contract. I'm going to let it ride. Maybe I'd sell it at like 500 or something crazy like that. That would be cool. But yeah, I want to look at the other contract that I do have. Let's see. That is going to be the $11 strike. So let's look up contract or tickers. Let's look up Nio here. And I'm just going to search like this. And I know the exact expiration that I want. That is for next Friday, September 26th, a call. And then I want the strike of 11. And so that is a contract that I hold short. So, if Nio closes above $11 next Friday, I have to sell my shares at $11. But I'd be cool with that. It's not a big deal. But yeah, I did want to pull up this contract over here. Wait, let's see. So add that over here. And so we can look at that. And yeah, so I had sold this one. It looks like the open interest is only 1,000 contracts. Maybe that's going to go up. I don't know. But I don't think Nio is going to be closing above 11 next Friday. But if it did, I think we'd all have a party. That would be great. Even if I had to get rid of my shares. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to put that up there. And, with what we're seeing in the price action, with what we're seeing in that Max Pain, I'm going to have to try to remember to check Max Pain tomorrow. I'm at work during the day, and so I forget to check. But yeah, I think that Nio could be going up. If Nio closes above 8 tomorrow on the 19th, I think that's going to be really good. I think it could be going to 10. Yeah, let's actually take a step back. And this is something I wanted to go over, but not at the beginning of the video. I wanted to go over it towards the end, and so that's where we're at. I don't know if you remember from my prior videos, I got this channel here. It's like, what the heck is that channel doing? If I switch to the logarithmic y-axis, look at that beautiful downtrend that we have been trading in on the log scale going back to 2022, the beginning of 2022. And we have very beautifully broken out of that. And so, with that being said, if we were to return to like the beginning of that channel, being approximate, that's like $30 a share. So I don't think Nio is going to hit $30 a share by the end of 2025. But I think that Nio could be hitting $30 in 2026. Looking at the chart, that seems reasonable. And so part of the reason why I wanted to do this video is because I personally don't spend enough time looking at the charts and thinking about this stuff. And I don't have a huge Nio position. And if it does start to move and I have to sell those 100 shares at 11, and this could be going up to 30, then I want to keep my remaining shares, which is less than 100. But yeah, so I think that this I don't like that it's a Chinese stock. I don't like going cross borders. I think there's just too much drama and potential for who knows what. But yeah, this just looks beautiful. Look at this, where we pulled up to, where that cursor is. this is going to seem crazy. This is going to seem crazy, okay? What do we have over here? You know, pulling this down. Maybe that's a left shoulder. Pulling up this to the armpit. Then the head is a little bit lower. That's valid. And then, you know, now we're like this. Maybe we could see a pullback and a retest at some point to like 520. And then from there, we've got a nice inverse head and shoulders pattern. And if that were to happen, let's say I want the fib extension tool, not the doodle tool or whatever that thing's called, the path tool. But yeah, I go to the base of the head here, the top of the upside down head, go to the armpit, pull back to that shoulder. And I mean, maybe that's not so exciting. That'd be suggesting a price of like 13 bucks. It's not as exciting as 30. But if we do take a step back, that 1618 is at 2250. So that's kind of exciting. That kind of corresponds with, look at where that cursor is. Lines up over here. So cool how the charts do that. Also, if we look at the 100%, kind of, you know, approximately lines up with the little peak here. So yeah, I mean, I think that if Nio closes above $8 on Friday, September 19th, I think that the market's going to try to trick us. I think market makers are going to try to push it down so they can buy shares lower, because they're going to need them to hedge for when this thing really starts to run, because they're going to need to provide those shares to those who hold contracts. And yeah, I think that the chart's looking incredible. I am grateful for you all for watching the videos, because I probably would have tuned out had it not been for so many wonderful people tuning in to watch these. So thank you so much for that. I hope that you guys have a great Friday, a great weekend. I'm actually off next week from work. So I'm going to try to stream half-an-hour streams during the day after close to try and talk about charts, whether it's taking requests or just going over the data, interacting with you guys, trying to make some content that's a little bit more digestible and not so, you know, ticker specific. But yeah, I mean, Nio just looks great. So congrats to you all if you've been holding, if you've had to endure during this, downtrend. I think there's a lot of upside in the future. And yeah, with that, I'll end as I always do. As always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a great Friday, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.